This week, we're looking at the multidisciplinary resources that humanities librarians draw on and organize. This includes resources in the arts and humanities that vary greatly from digital to print, and the landscape for organizing this vast knowledge that continues to shift as technological and indexing tools change. There is a notable advocacy to keep many of these resources free and accessible to the public. While some databases and indexes are paid subscriptions by such groups as EBSCOhost and Web of Science, many resources we will look at attempt to make this information open access. Finally, it's worth noting that this work, whether it seems straightforward or commonplace, is political. The National Endowment for the Humanities and Arts continues to find themselves threatened to be cut off from federal aid. Thus, it is worth noting that such grants as these and the IMLS are indeed political in nature rather than neutral. This perspective is in line with Martha Nussbaum's advocacy of the human development model, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Electronic references sources are now very common for humanities reference services. For the humanities reference librarian, being familiar with larger online databases will cross over for much of the different online reference sources. Some example of online subscription databases are the Arts and Humanities Citation Index, the Social Sciences Citation Index, the Book Citation Index, and the Arts and Humanities Index Online. All of these services are searched for through Web of Sciences, a global search interface. The Institute for Scientific Information Index, or the ISI, is an index that includes all scholarly and research fields. The Web of Sciences ISI's strength is searching through cited references by cited authors, work, year, or institution. These indexes are mostly used in a university setting. Also critical to the humanities librarianship are the increasingly common digital library. These collections specialized in published literature from particular timeframes and are often paid subscriptions. But there are also some free resources as well. One example of a free digital library is the Gutenberg e-Library, a collection of free digital texts that have been supported by the American Historical Association. Another example of a large-scale digital library that focuses on the humanities is the Hathi Trust Digital Library, which aims to ensure long-time availability and the preservation of materials to support teaching and learning for students, and is a collaboration of university libraries all across the country. The Hathi Trust collections are digitized content protected by copyright that have been obtained or are public domain. There's also this move for open access resources, and those are available online. These include such websites as bartleby.com, bibliomania.com, the HNet Commons, the Library of Congress, and even some Google Books. Of course, humanities and arts information services still, and hopefully will always, include the use of printed resources. Printed resources includes printed monographs, journals, sets, and annuals, such as the Arts and Humanities Through the Eras, the Oxford Companion to the Book, and the World Guide to Libraries. Also crucial to the arts and humanities are various specialized topics. Antiquarian and rare books are collected in various libraries, from public libraries and their historical societies to large university libraries. Conservation and preservation resources such as the New England Document Conservation Center preserves historical information and encourages the conservation of historical materials. We'll continue to discuss the critical need for grants and funding agencies such as the National Endowment for the Humanities and the National Endowment for the Arts, which sponsors programs in the United States. These grants and funding agencies are also considered specialized topics critical to humanities librarianship. Museums and museum studies also play their role in humanities and arts librarianship, sharing grant funding with the IMLS. While these resources appear to be neutral and common to everyday organizations of information, they actually fall into a political realm. Advocacy for open access materials from academics and from the humanities and arts is long established among humanities advocates. Martha Nussbaum finds that while we think about the importance for the humanities and arts, we must go back to thinking about the fundamental core of democracy. Nussbaum notes that there's this idea for the need of national advancement only economically, but there's also the need for the philosophical principles of democracy. Nussbaum argues against a model that solely advocates for economic growth, finding that achievement in health, education, and a democratic society are poorly correlated with economic growth, and this does not directly produce democracy. Instead of democracy through pure economic growth, Nussbaum argues for democracy through education, or what we call the human development model. She states, if a nation wants to promote this type of humane, people-sensitive democracy dedicated to promoting opportunities for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to each and every person, what abilities will it need to produce citizens? Try applying these ideas right now. You can join an HNet listserv to stay up to date on discussions within the humanities. You can follow Hathi Trust online, and you can just visit a local historical society or museum.